What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. I'm your host, Brent Bodkin. This week I'm riding solo. Quasi, like a lot of other people in the city of Montreal, or even off the island of Montreal, have moved. He moved yesterday, so obviously that's a lot of commotion, a lot of hustle and bustle, priorities and all that, right? So I mean, he's on the move, so good luck. I mean, moving on Canada Day, which was yesterday, obviously July 1st, is not something I would recommend. If you can do it like I'm doing it. I'm moving in September. If you can, wait till then. If you have to, though, obviously get your move on. So best of luck to Quasi. So obviously we are now officially at the second way, or past the midway point, I should say, of the season here in FPF. So every single division has gone past that first half of the season. Like I said, we are in the second half, so a lot of big games coming up. There were some already this week that happened. I know there's a couple happening tonight, this being Thursday. There's some on Friday. No games this Saturday, though, so don't forget that on the schedule. Make sure you realize that there's no games at all this Saturday. I should have found it out myself a few minutes ago. And this Sunday, there will be games. Obviously, for some teams, some divisions are week 7, some divisions are week 8. Like I said, though, we're in the second half of the season, so it's a good time. The stretch run is just around the corner in FlagPlus Football. So I'm not totally by myself today. We have a guest coming on in just a few seconds. He's I guess I could say a longtime friend, former teammates on the football field, teammate now in the broadcast booth, many different places we work together. He's a guy I've known for a long time. He's a stand-up guy. He's a referee in FlagPlus Football as well. None other than Mo Khan. Welcome to the show, sir.
I'll say this, Brent. I wish it was Quasi, the real host of the show, that was interviewing yours truly, not you, you bum.
Listen, it's your honor to be sitting down virtually with me. Whether it's virtually or whether it's one-on-one, it's always your honor to be in my presence, my friend. I expect that royalty check after the show's done. So the last title I gave you, besides being my chauffeur, is that you're a referee in FPF. Obviously, you've been a referee now for about a year, I want to say. You're obviously a former player, former host of this podcast, you're on the media team, former scorekeeper as well, right? You've been a part of FPF since the beginning, right? And a huge part of FPF, and the success that we have today is partly due to a lot of the hard work that you have put in. So thank you for that. But you're a referee now. You made that transition. You're wearing the stripes, if you will, the black and white. You crossed over to the dark side. Obviously with all these games, right, that we see every week, whether it's co-ed, whether it's 5v5, 6v6, even FPF junior, right? The referee is obviously an essential part of what goes on in FPF. So describe, if you can, how'd you get into the role, and how do you like it so far?
Well, Leo Gervais, the head referee, the RRC, as they like to call him in this world of ours, he had asked me after I had told him I was going to leave FPF in the fall of 2025, and he goes, like, why don't you come referee with us, still be involved, but from a different perspective. He's been trying to recruit me for years. I laughed at the notion of being a referee. I said, yeah, whatever, Leo. And then it finally came to where the stars were aligned, where it kind of said, you know what, let me do it, have fun with it, still be involved from a different perspective of FPF. And it's been a unique challenge of just trying to adapt from where I was initially to now where I'm at today of a referee. But it's been an enjoyment doing this thing here. It's a lot different because now when people come in, they think, hey, he's gonna give me a call, because he knows me. When I don't get that call, they're like, bleep you piece of trash, So a lot of, you have to make sure that as a referee that, you call it down the middle as you're supposed to, but there's no friends, right? People might love you one day, but hate you the next second type of thing here. But it's been a lot of fun doing this here, learning from Brent Young, Jack Nudie, Bruce Hogan, your boy, Leo Gervais, and many others out there. So it's been a great time working with all those guys, trying to learn the nuances of being a referee at the FPF level.
Okay, and so you mentioned some of those names, obviously like Leo, like Brand, like Jack, even like Walter Berry, right? A lot of the OGs, Terror as well, right, in FPF. When we look at the history, right, of FlagPlus Football, obviously starting with Rob, right? He brought in some guys, and like Tom Cesare, right, a former FPF official, now one of the head officials in the CFL, right? Him and his wife. When you look at some of the names that you've seen over the years in FPF and how they've impacted you. What's some of the biggest things you've learned from some of those names you talked about?
I think also Tara Rakic as well. Can't forget about her. She's been amazing in this whole process. I think the biggest thing I learned from all those guys has been just being in control of the situation, right? Line of communication is huge in this whole process and what you have to do. Because again, as I said before, one second they love you, the next second they hate you. And the thing is, as long as you maintain that open line of communication, where some referees, I'm not saying anyone in particular, but I know back in the day there would be some referees who did not want to have that line of communication, and that would kind of turn off the team or player involved. Whereas I try to be as open to anyone out there. They tell me something, I'll go, look, guys, I didn't see it first, but if I see next time, I'll call it, right? But I also will give them a couple of feedback things. Hey, guys, look, so you got a little bit handsy on player X, Y, and Z. Just be careful, because if I see it happen, the ball's thrown your way, I'm gonna have to call it, right? So they appreciate that type of feedback as well, and the feedback that I get from them. But really, it's to be in control of the situation and understand where you have to be, understand where you are in the field, what the scoreline is, what could it mean in this next play, if it's a touchdown or not, and if people are gonna hate you for that, right? And I think that's the most important thing, is just to understand where you are in that moment of play, and to realize that, like, you got to be objective in what you do, and make sure that whatever call you have, if you need help from your teammates, your referees, you might have to converse with them to see, hey, what did you see that maybe I didn't see? And they might tell you, hey, look, I saw this and that might help you in the whole process. So really, it's an individual thing at times, but it's also a team effort too, because we're all a team at the end of the day when it comes to refereeing in this whole world of ours.
I don't know. Well said. Well said. So obviously from calling football, tackle football, even in playing tackle football, as we both did together, and now in FPF, right? You notice a lot that I found that the best referees are the ones who you don't really talk about, right? They're not making it about them. Making the calls, right? But they have to make their calls, but they're not making it about them, right? Because let's be honest, no one is paying to see the officials. Um, with that being said, there's times even this season, right, where I've seen some players try to get up in your face or they don't agree with the call you're talking about. And you mentioned earlier, right, about keeping the lines of communication open. But how challenging is it for you as an official and just as a person, right? Not even as official, but as a person. Sometimes when the players don't agree with your call, even if you are right, they get in your face. They maybe not throw some insults, but they see some things, right, that you don't necessarily you might not want to hear. How challenging is it for you to kind of maintain your composure and keep your eyes on the focus and your focus on the game?
I mean, I've had a couple of moments where I've given back my 2 cents to teams or players in particular. In a way, it's sort of like in this league especially, the players want to test how far can they go with you, right, in what they say, right? What is going to be the flexibility that you will give them in terms of whatever they say to you, good or bad. And sometimes you got to bark back, right, to kind of put them in order. And after you might have that barking, they kind of go back in order, saying, okay, look, I realize I can't go beyond this line of demarcation and try to get away with it now. So really, I think it's a matter, again, being, in control of the situation. And again, as I said before, right, the line of communication should be the most important part of the refereeing perspective in FPF, because if it isn't, that's when it becomes really tense for players and teams out there to try to see what's going to be discussed with the referees and all that. So really, I think it's just a matter of just being understanding and being, receptive, I guess, in that sense to what was going to be given to you from feedback from the players.
Okay, and I know from the aspect of being still a current player, right? There's certain referees I prefer to call my games, right? Obviously, I love someone like Leo, right? He's the top of the top right here in this league, but it's always not going to be that way. Sometimes you're going to have guys and girls with a lot of experience. Sometimes you'll have people like yourself who just kind of new to the game, right? Um, when you being, I know, as a former scorekeeper like you were, right? I know even same thing, right? There's some scorekeeper, like when we come to the scorekeeper game, we see certain refs, okay, nice. This is someone who we're really cool with and someone we have, a bit of a rapport with. So we go back and forth with Mason jokes. It is what it is. We still get down to business and call the games, right? And scorekeep as we should. But now being a referee, are there any players you talked about obviously having to give your 2 cents and having to bark back sometimes? Are there any players, or maybe not players, or any teams you get there and you're like, okay, this could be a tough one?
Yeah, every team is like that, though, right? I mean, there's more maturity, I guess, in the higher divisions because they understand the ecosystem of being in FPF. It's more the new teams that act like they're doing, week 8 of the NFL season, right, on the 425 window, do or die type of thing mentality, right? And these guys don't understand the respect factor and not trying to blow up after every single call that might not go their way. And so sometimes you got to put them in their place, right? And say, listen, guys, we're making the calls here. You play, we ref. That's all. So really, it's a matter of experience, I think, in terms of like the maturity level in this league, where in the higher divisions, you will have 1 or 2 bad apples. It's part of the process. But really in the hard divisions, they just understand because look, as you said before, like a Leo Gervais or Jack Nudie, for example, they're going to be officiating the top game. So the respect level is already there. So as I said, they will allow you to converse with them, but they will call it as they see best. And I think that's the thing that you see in Division A or Division One, or Division Two, Division B, whatever it is, compared to the lower divisions where they're just trying to break into this whole process and trying to figure out how to play in this league. So they get it figured out eventually, these young teams here. But maybe the first couple of games, they come in, gangbusters out there, but realize, like, we need to kind of get ourselves straight and kind of fall in line with what we have to do moving forward here.
Okay, and being someone again that's been on both sides, right? Player, media, and scorekeeper, now referee. What's a piece of advice? Because I mean, no one's perfect, right? We've seen referees make mistakes, we've seen players make mistakes as well. What advice would you give to both sides in terms of just how to communicate with each other?
I mean, referees, as I said before, right, we'll always have the open line, right? That's the most important thing. I think for players, what's the most important thing is just the respect factor of just, come in. I know it might be a heated moment and your emotions or your octaves are through the roof. It happens, right? But if you're able to convey your message clearly and clean without any swear words, it makes it easier for us to talk. I had a situation on Tuesday in Brossard where no-showed your shift, which is no surprise to anyone in the world of FPF.
Simmer down.
There was a situation where the curtains were open, right? And so the player went through the, I guess, open area from field 3 to field 2, whatever it was. And it seems like, wait a minute, why is that not being called? And I said, listen, guys, the curtain rules apply when there's a curtains that's separating the fields, right? And the reason why we call that is because we can't see or can't tell who's going to come through the curtains from field A or field B with field 2, whatever it is. So we have to call it. But I go, if the curtains are up, we're going to bang that guy for going through the curtains, right? But we have to understand that the curtains being open, we're not going to call it. And they understood afterwards and respected the fact that we took the time to talk to them about that. So really, it's just a matter of just understanding, asking the right questions, I guess, in this whole process. And if you do ask the right questions, we'll give you the right answers. If you don't ask the right questions, then you might get like more of a fluff answer because you're just trying to be a jackass out there with the referees.
Okay. And in terms of being obviously involved in the game, right? Because being a referee, like I said, is an important part of the game, and this is your way of still staying at least a part of this league, right? Well, what has been the biggest thrill for you so far out of being a referee, or what is something maybe new that you didn't expect that you're realizing kind of, recently for the first time now as a referee?
Oh, I think it's just the speed of the game. When I first did my shifts back in January with Leo, I was working with Leo and his daughter Phoebe Gervais. They had me ping-ponging everywhere. Like I was doing like a Division 4 game, Division 6, and Division 2 game. But I told Leo, Leo, I'd rather do that because it gives my eyes the ability to adapt to the speed of the game, right? You see at different levels, different speeds of the game and all that. And so I think really it's just the adjustment period of just, using the first 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is, to get comfortable with your positioning, understanding what your role is on the field, what you have to look for, look for the danger is what they always emphasize in our referee crew, to sense it, I guess, and be on the spot as best as you can to make the call. So really it comes down to the speed, understanding your role, and just sensing where it's going to be at the conclusion of the play that you can make the call that's the best that can be.
Okay. And I know a lot of mistakes people make automatically assuming referee's easy. I can do that. I can make that call, or the referee's blind. I can't believe they didn't see that. How challenging, at least in your first couple of games, and maybe even now, right? How challenging is it for the people that don't understand? Like, how challenging is it to actually be a referee?
Oh, it's very challenging because, again, you think about like NFL or CFL, the highest leagues in the world of professional football, right? And they're literally bang bang. Here, it's again, we're not NFL level, but again, still quality flag football to look at, whether it's male or female. You have to be in the right spot as best as you can, and you kind of have to slow down. It's sort of like when you play sport, as we all have. Where things slow down, right? And they always say in the mental sports world that, hey, once things slow down, you start to dominate whatever it is. Once it slows down, you see it from a perspective, okay, did he or she catch the ball? Was there rotation still going on in their hands? What was the feet when they landed and all that? Was there any contact with the player by the defense on the play? So really going through the process of steps of what you have to look for. At the end of the day, as long as you get in the right position, you make the right call. That's the most important thing. But again, as I said before, it's also important to lean on your teammates, because they'll see from a different angle and give you their feedback. And sometimes it happens where we have that conversation with the 3-man crew or 2-man crew or 4-man crew for finals out there. So really, it's a team effort, as I said. But again, for that individual moment, as long as you're in the right position, you make the call that's best, then that's the most important thing.
Okay. So when I go through some names here, so James Drysdale, Dylan Taylor, Guillaume Perrier, Phoebe Gervais, obviously someone we've known for a long time, Terry Babalas, Lamisa Jundi, Mike Jazz, Vinny Galano, Dakota Scott, Phil Roberts, Chris Casamajor, Ryan Perry, Theo J. Those are some of the names of players who are current players, but they're also referees here in FPF. How important, and you being a former FPF player as well, right? How important, pardon me, do you think it is for a referee to have that player background?
I think it helps. I think it definitely is a tremendous asset in trying to figure it out. You said all those names, and now you have some new guys coming in there. Even Jordan Allard is now refereeing this league. He's been a mainstay in FPF for many, many years. I think it helps immensely. And I think, Leo and his crew, bandits that he has, that's part of the committee, they're always trying to recruit players because they think those are the best ones to have because they just understand how this process plays out and how it unfolds. So really, it just comes down to, being a player is a huge thing, but just being someone that's willing to be a sponge for feedback from the referees above you, understanding what you have to do better and stuff. And I've gotten plenty of feedback from my referee partners of mine, right, what I can do better and stuff like that. And I've always tried to apply something new every single week that I work with, whoever it is. So really, it comes down to, being a player does help in the referee world, but just being receptive to being someone that's open to feedback. Tell me what I need to do, not what I want to hear, is the old slogan out there. So it's been huge, and I think all those names that you listed have been exceptional referees in the FPF world at one point or another.
Okay. Switching away from football for a second, obviously you're the play-by-play voice for the Montreal Alliance. I know you guys have a game coming up tomorrow actually against the Scarborough Shooting Stars. I know you're a little under the weather right now. Are you going to be okay to make the call there?
See, Brent, unlike you, my friend, I'm able to persevere through anything, my friend.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter, my friend. Even with the heats, my friend, I was able to persevere, my friend. But no, I'll be fine for tomorrow. Looking forward to the game. It's a big one for Montreal. They lost to Scarborough in Canada by 2. And it's a big one in the thick of the playoff race as well. They're in it with Niagara and Ottawa and Brampton for seeds 2, 3, and 4. Scarborough will probably run away with the number 1 seed in all likelihood. But if Montreal are to win tomorrow against Scarborough, if this further strengthens their spot in the playoffs, whether they finish 2, 3, or 4. So it's a huge one tomorrow at Verdun, but it's going to be a good one because Scarborough, Montreal, those are the two teams that came in together in 2022. So there's a history of being expansion cousins 4 or 5 years ago, but also the fact that Scarborough is probably the preeminent standard in the CEBL when it comes to player acquisition and team success that they've had the last 3-4 years.
All right, well, hopefully you'll be able to preserve long enough to go get a haircut too while you're at it, and look a little sharp there for tomorrow night. I have to wait and see.
Listen, my friend, my hair is looking fine, my friend. It's a little bit ruffled right now, but I will shower. I'll wash my hair tomorrow before my haircut, my friends. Pre-game haircut, my friend. Pre-game haircut tomorrow.
Are you about to say your shower tomorrow, as in you haven't showered yet today or yesterday or yet this week, or is that what you're saying?
My question to you, Brent, is this, right? What's more likely to happen first? You switching out of your winter tires now or getting the air conditioning installed before the heat wave is done?
First off, my friend, my winter tires have been taken off. I took them off
4 days ago.
Give or take.
4 days ago.
The AC's coming out. The AC will be put up tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow.
Yeah, by the time the AC comes up, it'll be
problems.
November 10th, and you'll have to take it down.
Simmer down. Simmer down. Simmer down. Simmer
Yeah.
down.
And by the way, opening up your freezer is not considered to be air conditioning in the house.
You're not wrong on that one. Going back to football, obviously, for anybody that's heard Mo and I talk in person, we talk a lot of trash. Obviously, you being a Raiders fan, I mean, you have to have some kind of joy in your life. So talking trash, I guess, is that. I know you took your boy Fernando Mendoza this year. I hope you're excited about that. But I mean, it is the Raiders, right? He could easily be the next Jamarcus Russell because it's the Raiders. What are your expectations for Mendoza and your Raiders this season?
We didn't trade 3 first-round picks for a guy that played 4 quarters for you in Trey Lance. So we're ahead of you in that department when it comes down to it.
I mean, you guys did say Jamarcus Russell and Alex Leatherwood, Robert Gowry, a slew of picks that haven't worked out for you guys. Henry Ruggs,
Oh, you,
Continue
you
on.
can
Yeah,
pay
you were
you
saying.
can pay Ben Ayuk $45 million to do Instagram videos. I mean, I'm sure you had that on your
See,
algorithm right now.
listen, Brandon Ayuk's a fool, but I mean, listen, at least he led us
But
to
I'm
some
just saying
playoff
that
wins,
that's
right?
probably on the
He
algorithm
helped
right
bring us
now,
to a
right?
Super Bowl. I don't
That
know about you guys haven't sniffed a playoff win since 2003. 2003. So
you
we
know
were
you
both
guys had
playing
the
tackle
second
football in
longest
2003, so it's
lose
been a
streak
while.
in the Super Bowl, right? You guys lost three in a row. You're behind the
But
Vikings and
we
Buffalo
made the Super Bowl.
Bills.
So this is my point. So for those of you
Second
that don't know
longest losing
Mopan,
streak.
he talks a lot of trash. He cheers for
Second
horrible
longest
teams,
losing
the
streak.
Raiders, the Marlins. Yes, I said it
Second
before,
longest. By the way,
Marlins,
Marlins best home record in
Chicago
MLB, my
Bulls.
friend. Only 3.5
That's
behind
right.
your
You guys
Braves.
that's great. So an official Brent Bodkin guarantee here, and you know I'm always right
Oh
with
yeah, yeah.
that.
No,
The
the Brent
Florida
Bodkin
Marlins will not
guarantee.
make the
Yes,
playoffs.
yes. That's the seal of approval.
An
Yes,
official Brent Bodkin guarantee, my friend. The
yes,
Florida
yes.
Marlins will not make the playoffs. My Braves will, but continue on. Anyways, so seriously though, do you think your Raiders are going to finish maybe second or third in the AFC West, or where do you
No, they'll
think they're
still
going
be
to
a
finish?
last place team. They'll probably be a 5 to 6 win team this year at best.
Okay.
Still holes in the receiving core. Defense transition from a 4-3 to 3-4. So, and I think, Crosby could be on the block by October, which I think is what they want to hope to
Down.
happen here.
Come on
He doesn't want to
down.
go to San Fran, trust me. He doesn't want to go to that armpit of Northern California, San
He wishes.
Francisco.
He wishes.
But I think realistically, I think 5 to 6 wins. I think six would be huge for them. But they still have a lot of holes. They're a young team, one of the young teams in the NFL. O line is in transition. Receiving core is rather young and inexperienced. Defense is decent enough. I think they'll be competitive in a lot of the games. But really, I think it's a matter of just allowing Mendoza to come in. I think they'll go with Kirk Cousins for the first couple weeks of the year, and then eventually give him the baton from Cousins to Mendoza at some point during the regular season, and then go from there. So I think really, they're going the right track. And I think for Mendoza, I don't expect him to play all 17 games, but I do expect him to play about, if it goes according to plan, I think he'll probably get maybe 6 to 10 games in that window this year.
Okay. Okay. And just transitioning back once more before we let you go, just being a referee. So, what advice would you give people? Yeah, like even myself, right? I'm thinking about being a ref. What advice would you give to people about being a referee, and why should people want to be a referee, in your opinion?
Oh, you're like a cop out there. I always tell Leo, like, we're like wannabe cops, man. We have all the power in our flag over here to throw an OC or UR or penalty on you guys, right? No, but jokes aside, I think being a referee has been a lot of fun. Just it gives you a different perspective. It also gives you the ability to stay in the game, right? And you see it from, again, a different prism of football as a whole. Like, what does referees see that you don't see at home or in person? And I think it's a lot of fun. It's always been a joy to work with these guys. Leo, as I said before, Leo, Jack, and all these guys have been great with me. Tough love for sure being a rookie with these guys. But at the end of the day, Jason Leclerc, too, who I forgot to mention, he's been wonderful as well.
Yep.
All those guys have been great, and so for me, it's been a fun time working with these guys, and even working outside of FPF doing high school football has been a lot of fun, which has actually helped me grow as a referee because I see from a different visual too. That has helped me see things more clearly than before. So, really being involved in the referee scheme of things as a flag football ref has been fun. It's been a joy. Highs and lows for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm not expecting to be Ed Hockley here. But at the end of the day, it's what, as I've told you before, if I call the play right or well enough down the middle, that's all I care about. As long as we're not the focus, we've done our job moving forward.
Okay, nice. All right, so I just want to say thanks for joining us, Mo. I know you're feeling a little under the weather, so go back and lay down and try to get a haircut before Friday. Again, like I said, I know you're back in action tomorrow as you guys host Scarborough down at the Verdun Auditorium. You obviously can hear that on TSN 690. So congrats to you, sir, and good luck tomorrow night. Hopefully you feel a little better.
Yeah, I will feel better, Brent. And as they always say, with the
Oh boy.
Atlanta Braves, my friend, they'll always be perennial choke artists no matter what.
Better than your team who hasn't done anything in forever, okay? Like all your other teams.
Best home
All right, thank
record
you,
in
Mo.
MLB, my friend. The best MLB home record. You guys
So
came.
is the World Series played in July or is it play, a little later
You
there in
guys
October?
finally caught up
Oh,
to us
I
in
thought,
World
okay.
Series rings. It took you about 45 years to catch up to us with two. So congratulations.
And we're closer to one this year than you guys. And your Raiders, when your season is over by week 4, you said 6 wins, eh? So this is recorded now, my friend.
Yeah,
6 wins.
yeah.
You talking
I'm not
trash
gonna
in the
I'm not
group
gonna
chat.
sugarcoat it. Yeah, I think it's 5 to 6
9 wins.
wins. But
So
just
when your
like
season
your
is over by
Niners
week
though, just like your
5,
Niners, your boy Nick
how
Bosa
about the
and all those
Niners, my
guys.
friend?
Yeah, your
Don't
boy
touch
Nick
the real team
Bosa.
of California, the real team to stay. Bang bang down the game, my
You
friend.
guys, you guys are. You know what? Your home field is closer to San Jose than it is to San Francisco. So what does that tell you
It's
about
also
you calling
Santa
yourself San
Clara. Okay,
Francisco?
well, it doesn't matter where we're close to, my friend. You guys are in Las Vegas now. Back to Oakland. You go to LA. Maybe Albuquerque, New Mexico. Maybe after the World Cup's over, you can take over Monterey.
Hey, you know
Monterey,
what?
Mexico. Sure, why not? Eh?
See, unlike you guys, which is like a regional brand, we are a worldwide brand, no
Uh,
matter where we
uh,
go.
uh, uh.
So
It hasn't won a playoff game since 2023. I was right, 2003. My bad. Have a good one.
later.
Thank you, sir. Take care, man. Appreciate it. All right, so that was that clown. Joking. That's a good friend of mine, Mo Khan. Obviously, if you're part of FPF with last since the beginning, pretty much, you guys have seen him again. Former player, former scorekeeper, former host of this podcast, and now obviously referee, doing a great job in FPF. So shout out to him. Okay, so we have another guest coming on in about 15 minutes. So before we go there, before we get to our next guest, I should say, let's just hop into a couple of things, right? So this past week, right? Obviously, I got the scorekeep a couple of games. I didn't do my usual Tuesday shift, as Mo alluded to, this past Tuesday in Brassard, but I did fill in for Mo Couture at Mary Vic, which I hate going to Mary Vic, by the way. It took me about 45 minutes to get there, and yeah, good times. Although I will say I'm happy. I will say, because last summer, I think I had one game in Mary Vic. I really tried to black them all out because I just hate going there. It's like 45 minutes, sometimes an hour from my house, and it is what it is. The field is gorgeous, and the facility is very nice. It's all very modern, all very new as well it should be, but it's just too far, and the traffic going there is a pain. Going back is not so bad. But anyways, I score kept there on Monday night. I did a couple of games, and I will say there was actually AC. I don't remember there ever being AC in it. I always would say this place is really nice, but it's really hot. Just like Stade Papineau, same thing. No AC in a really modern building, but whatever. I was very happy I'm ready to with some AC, and yeah, I'm almost kind of ready. I kind of need to turn on my AC now, but it is what it is. It will be up tomorrow. Um, so let's get to a couple of storylines, right? Like I said earlier, it's the second half of the season here in FPF, right? So I'm just looking at a couple of things I was writing down earlier. Looking at Division F, right? New division here in FPF, 22 teams. And I'm thinking, who's going to win Division F, right? So again, like I said, 22 teams, right? Baby Sharks are 7-0. So the Baby Sharks are the only undefeated team in Division F. So hey, props to them. I mean, if you're undefeated at this point of the season, you're at least doing something, right? And again, these guys have 7 games. It's not like they played 4 or 5. Some teams, no, they played 7 games, so there's perfect 7-0. Uh, looking who else is up there, right? So they're coming off of a huge win, the Baby Sharks, I should say, pardon me, 59-31. Yes, 59-31 at Mary Vic this past Monday. They took over Don't Touchdown here. So I wasn't scorekeeping that game, but I had a chance to see it because again, it was where I was scorekeeping. So I was trying to watch that a bit. Baby Sharks again, best offense in the division, averaging 36 points per game, right? But you look at the rest of the standings, right? There's a couple other teams who are pretty close, right? There's 4-1 lost teams. There's Aladdin FC, who have the number one, pardon me, the top ranked defense. They've let in only 16 points a game. The Sweet Bonanza as well, right? They have one loss. TGs with the number 2 ranked offense coming in with 34 points scored a game. And you have the Devious Dogs, right? So obviously some really top-notch competition in Division F. So Aladdin FC is 5-1, Sweet Bonanza 5-1, TG's 5-1, and Devious Dogs. So Devious Dogs actually are 4-1-2. And here's the second thing I noticed about Division F. What's up with all the ties? I mean, right now, so I'm just gonna look at the schedule. I think we're in week 8 right now for this division, if I'm not mistaken. We are, to be exact, week 7. Thank you, Ali Reza. We are week 7 right now, and there's been 8 ties. And I was like, wow, okay. There's also a team, Zeno Clock. They're 2-2-3. So I mean, that's you don't hear that often, but I mean, so that's like 4, 5, 6, 7 points right there, right, for Zeno Clock. So again, 8 ties so far. The question, of course, is will we get to 16 by the end of the season? Maybe even 20? At this rate, you never know, right? So it's interesting to see. But again, like I said, the top team right now, Baby Sharks, at a perfect 7-0 right now in the regular season. Just trying to look at their upcoming schedule for the Baby Sharks. Let's see if they can be knocked off. They're taking on, yeah, they have what was the aforementioned Zeno Clock that's going to coming up 2 Saturdays from now. So they're on the bye, right? Again, they had that 59-31 win over Don't Touchdown here on Monday. They're off until July 18th, which is week 9. They take on Zeno Clock. We tend to take on the Gamblers. We talked a bit about them last week. Gamblers playing some pretty decent football right now. And then they finish with TGs, right? So that's going to be a battle of one loss teams maybe by then, or one team could be Baby Sharks could still be undefeated. Who knows? But again, that should be a good way to wrap up the regular season in Week 11 on August 2nd. Again, Baby Sharks against TGs. So yeah, so it's going forward. Uh, so that's Division F right there. It's gonna jump over to co-ed right now. So co-ed, looking at co-ed 5v5, pardon me, so the division I rate, one of the divisions that I rate for, Airbuds right now, they've won 4 in a row. And they've looked pretty good. Gonna do a Larry David, pretty. Anyways, yeah, they've looked pretty good while doing it, right? So again, 4-0, the last in their last 4 games. Pardon me. Just looking at who they've knocked off here. So again, looking at the Airbuds, right? And when we look at this team, right, it's a veteran squad, right? It's a veteran team. They started off 0-2, but now they have 4 wins in a row. So they've knocked off most recently Flagmont de Croix, 31-30. They beat down on Tuski 55-24. They got the edge over Maple Syrup 48-42, and then they beat Activated 2 days ago. So on Tuesday, in Brassard, they beat them by a score of 33-24. So good job for Airbuds. And guess what? They got back to starting quarterback, right? Jeff Rosenblatt, who had hurt the thumb on his throwing hand, obviously our president, but he's also the team captain and quarterback of Airbuds. He hurt the thumb on his throwing hand a few weeks ago. He was replaced by Emerson Peterkin, who was simply phenomenal in his absence. Emerson with 15 touchdown passes and no INTs in the 2 games he took over for Jeff. But yeah, he came back this Tuesday to Jeff, and again, he led his team to a 33-24 win. We look at the IG team right now. IG team, they've won 3 in a row. Pardon me. They won 2 out of the last. Sorry, they won 3 in a row, and 2 out of those last 3 wins were via blowout. Right, so they've been looking great. Obviously, after nationals, which we're going to get to in a few minutes, you have to imagine right now their confidence is at an all-time high. For at least some of the members, obviously, for this co-ed 5v5 team, that were at nationals, obviously the Alexi brothers, First Senators, to name a few. Right, so congrats to them. Tuski, 2 losses in a row. I wrote in my article that I put out this week. It's available on the FlagPlus Football website. Tuski, 2 losses in a row, but they were shorthanded, right? So they didn't have the regular quarterback, William Trottier, who's been really good so far as the starting quarterback of this team. They didn't have in the last 2 weeks, and the last 2 weeks, honestly, have gone pretty ugly for Tuski. I score kept their game last Tuesday against the IG team, and they lost by a score of 40-0. Now, in Tuski's defense, there was a couple of missed calls in that game, speaking of refereeing, but they didn't contribute to the final score. They got their butts kicked, and they'd be the first to admit it. So again, they lost that game by a score of 40-0, and they lost before that to Airbuds 55-24. Looking at the rest of the division here, right? So we have Flagmont de Croix. They've lost 2 in a row and 3 out of the last 4 overall, right? So this is, again, another veteran squad with playmakers, both male and female. It's not one of those teams that just gives the ball predominantly to the males. No, Flagmont, the quad, they include everybody with their offense. But again, they're struggling a little bit right now, right? Again, they've lost a couple of games here. And if you look at it, right, again, they lost to the IG team 42-31. Okay, that happens. And they lost to Airbuds 31-30. That happens again, right? So 2 losses in a row, though, for Flagmont. The quad, they're back in action in 2 weeks on Sunday, July 19th. They're taking on Activated. That game's going to take place in Laval. So let's see if they can get back on track. Looking at the 2 most disappointing teams in this division, well, speaking of Activated, I had to put them on that list, right? Activated 1-2. Only 3 games played, but they're 1-2 so far. And then Maple Syrup, right? 4 games played, they're 1-3, right? Both these teams in Activated and Maple Syrup, they have tons of talent up and down the roster, male and female. You can go down the list of names. I'll give you a couple, obviously, for Activator, right? So you have so you have Bakari Barrett. I think this is Ben McMahon's team, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check here. Yes, yeah, Ben McMahon's team, right? So you have Ben, you have Rory Submergent on the team. Obviously, Bakari Barrett's on this team as well. Abigail Perot, she's a baller. Alyssa Goulet, she's a baller as well, right? Eloise Lefebvre, Lara Zuko, right? Like she could be arguably the best female player in all of FPF, right? Or at the very least in the discussion, and Ethan Adrian as well, right? So the fact that this team is 1-2, it's a little. I mean, still a lot of football left. There's still a ton of football left. They have a tight loss to Tuski. They smoked Maple Syrup, and then they just got beat like I said the other day by Activator. So again, still a lot of ball left, but you don't want to let too many. You don't want to keep on adding into the loss column, right? Maple Syrup, obviously Marc-Andre Reeves, right? Again, one of the best quarterbacks, period, in all of FPF. And you look at his roster, right? It's just a lot of the usual suspects. So you have obviously this girl, Corley Leduc, top-notch player. Obviously Marvin Steinberg. You have Crispino Jr., right? Hall of Famer. You have Gigi on the team as well, right? So he's not lacking any firepower. Gabriel Mon, great. So I hadn't really I've heard the name. So many players. I hadn't really seen her play until. Pardon me. What did you say? Oh, thought you said something. Oh, okay, Chris is on. Anyways, I hadn't seen her play until a few weeks ago, and anyways, I saw her play and she was balling. She did a really good job. So, anyways, this team has talent. I'm just a little surprised right now that they're struggling in the standings again, at 1-3. So hopefully they could turn some things around. The question, of course, is who's going to win 5v5? I mean, right now you have to put your money on the Airbud, right? They've been the best team as of late. Like I said, 4 in a row to get back to starting quarterback. So now what that does is that switches Emerson Peterkin to receiver, and he's just as good as a quarterback as he is as a receiver, right? So it's gonna be on the rest of the teams to try and slow down his offense. We have a game tomorrow. It's going to be Tuesday against Maple Syrup, the only game this week taking place, pardon me, on Sunday, I should say, in Laval. So I have to see can Tuesday snap their losing streak or can Maple Syrup add on to it and add some more wins in the win column. We'll have to wait and find out on Sunday in Laval. Going quickly, looking at the women's divisions, right? Like, so we look at women's one, right? Can anyone stop the Knicks? They dominated the Sparks 35-12 at Mary Vic on Monday. 3 out of the 4 wins right now for the Knicks have been blowouts. Like they haven't just beat teams, they've beaten teams down, right? And listen, that's what good teams do. Women's A, right? And that's what good teams do. Sorry, my apologies. I keep saying like 1 and 2 for the divisions. I'm so used to that. But yeah, women's A, pardon me. But again, like I said, that's what good teams do. And the Knicks, let's be honest, they're a good team. They're the best team right now, right? They're 4-0, sitting on top of the division, right? Let's look at some of those blowout wins, right? They blew out Chaos, they blew out Burge, and they just blew out the Sparks, right? The one close win they had was Purple Heat. That was all the way back in week 3. Well, to start their season was in week 3, and that was an 8-point game, right? So again, shout out to the ladies on the Knicks. Up next, they have Purple Heat next Saturday at Loyola. Knicks won that first meeting, like I said, 27-19 back in week 3. And then after that meeting with Purple Heat, they have the Birds, right? And again, like I said, they beat the Birds already. They actually no, sorry, pardon me. They haven't no, so yeah, they beat the Birds 36-20 back in week 5, right? So ideally for the Knicks, it's the 2 toughest opponents in Purple Heat and the Birds coming up. So we'll have to see if they can maintain their the perfect record. Looking at women's B right now, so I had a chance to score keep the Hebrew game. They took on the Originals. I thought coming into that game it was going to be close, and I could tell you it was not close at all. Hebrew just they had their way. Like they're I had seen them play earlier in the season, and it was actually I think it's the one game they lost actually. Let's go back and check here. I had Hebrew, yeah, because they're 4-1 right now. Hebrew. I did Hebrew's game against Wolfpack. Yeah, yeah. So it was a Saturday at Lyle, and I think I scored kept that game. And yeah, it was pardon me, sorry. No, it was Saturday at Lyle, and that was week 4. Yeah, so it was 26-7. Wolfpack ended up winning that game, and I came away thinking Hebrew. I mean, I thought they were better than this, but maybe it was just a bad game because Hebrew right now, like I said, they're 4-1, right? They have a 38-0 win over the Merge. 32-13 over the Wolfpack in the first meeting, 54-0 over the Originals in the first meeting. Then, like I said, they lost to the Wolfpack, and then they bounced back against Hebrew. Oh, pardon me, the Hebrew bounced back against the Originals, beating them 40-12 this past Monday at Complex Mary Vic. And I just came away thinking like I was just really impressed. So Cassiopeia LeMay was the quarterback. I've never seen her play before. I've seen Emily Adam, who used to be the quarterback, and she filled in actually, ironically enough, in that one loss that Hebrew has this season. But LeMay came in there, and she's strong. Like, she's thick and she's strong in the pocket. Like a really big arm. She's a cannon for an arm, and she's really accurate. Eleanor Lacasse had a big game. She had 102 yards, 2 TDs. Beatrice Dubois had 2 TDs. She was just spreading the ball around to everybody. So a buddy of mine, Miles, one of the referees, also he's a player as well. He plays receiver at John Abbott. I don't think he plays in FPF. He's subbed in FPF, but I don't think he has a permanent team. And he just saw, so it was this girl, Anka Ku, I think Khuu. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She was definitely the smallest player on the field. I think if she was like 5'1", I'd be surprised, but I think she might have been the toughest. She was making plays both sides of the ball, diving for balls, making diving tackles and that, and just like tough. Like she was making contact when players were catching the ball in front of her, and then she was receiving contact when she was catching the ball. And she just made play after play. That defense was on point. Eleanor Lacasse had a pick six in that game. Lexi Bourgeois had two pass deflections. Actually, honestly, on almost every member of the defense had a pass deflection. Switching sides to the originals, right? This is the team we talked about earlier in this podcast, right? Like last couple of weeks, Marielle Paradis, like I've been impressed by her. She can ball. And Bonin, they have some ladies that can really, really play on this team, and it was just Alessi Galarno as well, Maggie Gervais, and it's just weird. Like they just got dominated, and the originals they have a lot more size on their team than he does. And it's just, I don't know, Hebrew just came out and they were snatching balls away. They were going over the top and batting balls down. Pardon me, just a really physical game. Hebrew though came out on top, like I said, by a score of 40-12 in that contest. And hey, listen, I like what I saw. And just Hebrew again, if they could maintain this pace or maintain what I saw the other day, they're going to be good. The originals right now in second place at 4-3. There's Supernova, there's the Merge, Wolfpack, Cavs, and the Sorority. I'm gonna get to women's three in a few minutes. As we have another guest I want to welcome onto the show, and it's a buddy of mine. He's been a part of FPF for a long time. He's on our media team. He's a Tennessee Titans fan. I mean, that seems to be trending in the right direction. Better than most Raiders. Seems to be. I can see him nodding right now. It's trending in the right direction. Stand-up guy. He does a lot to really help elevate what we have here at FPF. It's none other than the main man himself, quarterback of the Stoics, Chris Rivest.
Hey, Brent, how's it going?
I'm good. How do you do, sir?
I'm doing very good. I'm surviving this heat, but I'm doing good.
I'm not complaining, man. I'm not complaining because trust me, when November and December rolls around, my friend, you'd be wishing it's hot like this. Possible.
Very true. Very true.
I'm African, man. What can I say? I love the heat. So obviously you had a chance this past weekend. You took part in nationals, right? A lot of people were nationals this past weekend at Pro Robiar. There's a ton of different teams, a lot of FPF based teams as well, right? There was two divisions. There was there was competitive division, and then there was the pro division. You were telling me earlier you took part, I believe, in the competitive division, right?
Right. Can you guys hear me?
Not. Keep talking.
Hello. We were part of the competitive division. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, what was the experience like for you? Again, like I said, it was a national flag championships took place this past weekend at Clos Robiar. What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, it was awesome. Look, what made it really fun is that 5v5 is a new format for most of us that were on the team. I mean, there are a couple of guys on the team that have played 5v5 that are currently playing 5v5. But speaking from my end, quarterbacking the team in 5v5, it was very different. But as a whole, it was really good. There was referees from across the country. I met different refs. I think there was a ref from Winnipeg. So just meeting new people. I met some new teams also. The team that actually won the comp division from North Bay, a bunch of young guys there that we met, and as a whole, it was really awesome. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So I'm just looking. Obviously, like I said, you had your team the Stoics, and obviously it's a team you always play with in FPF. You're the captain and the quarterback of that crew. I'm just looking, obviously, again, a lot of other FPF teams were in there, like Speed Academy in different divisions, like Speed Academy, Raw Dogs, KGP Elite, Party Crashers, obviously ended up winning the other division. There was Team FPF, there was Montreal Magic, and the Pros, even with the ladies, right? There was Knicks, there was Blue Power, there was Purple Heat, there was the Birds. And again, like I said, this is a new format, right, with the 5v5. Obviously, you like the experience. I think it's pretty safe to say next time there's a tournament that rolls into Montreal, you're going to take part?
Well, definitely. I'm trying to play at fives as much as I can now. I think that's the reality of flag today. More and more leagues are going to transition to 5v5. FPF was kind of ahead of the game. They've been doing it for a while now. But like I said, I work across different places around Quebec, and from what I'm hearing, and everyone is transitioning to 5v5. Even high school, RSEQ the programs are transitioning to 5v5. So it's just a new current reality that everyone's going to be playing more and more. I think 6v6 is still going to be there, but it's gradually going to be like replaced by 5v5. But yeah, any type of tournament that has fives, I'd definitely be interested of playing and get more experience.
Okay. So I'm just looking at your roster, right? So I know we were talking earlier today, you and I, and thank you for coming on the show, by the way. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So you had Tyson Peterkin, Nathan Tran, Nick DeMalo, Sanders Armand, Jeremy Steinberg, Angelo Morelatos, and Noah Suminahan. So again, in the comp division, you guys ended up winning silver. So I mean, that's a pretty good roster and a pretty good outing, pretty good showing, I should say, for you guys. If you had to pick, what was maybe it could be one thing or multiple things like did you found that's the most exciting about being at the tournament?
Well, other than playing, I think it was just being with the community, like watching other games. So one moment that comes to mind, I was actually watching Idaho Utipimps. They were in their playoffs, and they ended up having a game that went into like 5 overtimes. And I remember I was standing like behind the end zone where the overtime was happening, and I was just standing with a bunch of guys from FPF. There was Kwesi was there, Jordan Panetta, Daniel Mancini, Keon. And, it was honestly just a weekend to just let go and to play flag, but also to watch like great games. There was a bunch of great games that were played. There was the exhibition game with the Braves against Team Canada. Knicks played also Team Canada in the women's division. So you got to really see like a lot of flag, and just in bursts. It's just a short amount of time, just game after game. So for me, I think the one thing was just being there with like everyone was there, love flag. And we were just all together, and we were able to witness some pretty cool games. So I think that's what really like sticks to my mind when I think about these type of tournaments actually.
Okay. And being there with all those other players, right? And seeing all those other teams, both male and female, and you're a quarterback, right? You're always someone that's thinking and trying to evolve, have your offense evolve too. Was there any maybe plays or concepts, any ideas that you maybe picked up and be like, hey, I could maybe use that for my team in the future?
Definitely. Like, it didn't maybe quite register in the moment because I'm just watching and everything is processing at the same time. But we're actually able to. All the games were streamed, so we were able to like we all got links, and we're able to rewatch the games. And definitely, I didn't have time to go through everything, but I'm definitely gonna look at those games and see what games we can pick up. That's actually what I did to prepare for a tournament. Was just watching, obviously I'm new to 5v5, but I was able to like pick up enough plays to make a playbook and have a roster that made us pretty competitive. And it was really fun, honestly. Like, I really wish I was back there again, because it was really, really, really. I went there last year, but this year I felt it was even more fun because I made a team with like guys that I know better. And it was just not only like obviously winning is fun, but just being there with the guys and just hanging out and playing. It was definitely it was really, really fun.
Okay. I was going through some of the posts you had there on IG, and that seems to be the vibe, right? That you said like you connected with old friends, you met some new friends, and that, and you had a lot of fun.
Right.
When you look at the tournament itself, is there maybe something that you would like to see maybe done differently, or anything you would like to change? Or you think it was just perfect as is?
Sorry, you cut off there a bit, Brent. Can you repeat that, please?
Anyways, so when you look at the tournament, right? Obviously, like I said, I read your post and you had a lot of great things to say. Was there perhaps maybe something on the other side, maybe something that you would like to see done differently, maybe next year, or something that they could add to make the experience even better next year for you guys, or you want to keep things as is?
Nothing really comes to mind, but there's definitely room for improvement for sure. Like, I can't say everything was perfect, but there's nothing that comes to mind actually right now that says, oh, they should have done this or they should have done that. I mean, look, parking was free. We're able to park pretty much next to the fields. So that's already there. That's like a big plus. They had like a food stand, drink stand. You can pretty much, do what you want there. The fields were very close. They were literally a 3-minute walk apart.
Okay.
They provided flags. They provided flags for every single team that was there. So like you didn't have to you find, they actually had like good pop-up flags that were good. Look, I'm just naming the positives. There's probably negatives too that other people might mention, but nothing comes to mind immediately right now with what could be better. Maybe more teams, but that's not really like their fault. And but still, it was still like we were 8 in our division, and last year we were 4, so it doubled this year. So like,
Okay.
it's definitely progressing, and we're hoping to play in the pro division for next year.
Okay. So let me ask you then, if you want to go to the pro division, what is going to be maybe some additions to the team, or what changes do you think, or what would you guys have to do collectively to make sure you'll be ready for the pro division next year?
I think first of all, you just got to get more reps in. Like I said, 5v5 is definitely new. So if we can maybe play in the next coming seasons to like prepare for winter, definitely more reps. I think we need more height too. Like we had Sanders, like Sanders definitely helps, but the rest of the roster for 5v5s were more on the smaller size. But that never really bothered me. Because like I've never really played with like huge players. Like I had great players, but none of them were really like the only one that comes to mind was Emerson Peterkin. Obviously, he's like the other receiver that I played in the past that's tall. But other than that, like I get it, you need size, but like it's not the end of the world if you don't. But I do believe if you're going in the pro division though, you do kind of need like bigger bodies, because I did notice it was a bit more physical in the pro division. So referees let it play it out more. There's a bit more contact. There's a bit more. The physicality is definitely there in the pro division. So definitely you need to have bigger bodies for pro.
Okay. Makes sense. When you look at your experience, right, being there last week, and again, all the stuff you got to learn, all the stuff you got to see, how do you think that'll make you a better quarterback going forward?
I think what I really learned from that weekend was really, I played with like, for the most part, new guys on offense. Like I had experience with Tyson, I had a little bit of experience with Noah, but the rest of the guys were like Nick DeMall. I never played with him, and I was able to like still connect and still like, that was the toughest part, is getting chemistry with the newer guys. It took time, and I think that this tournament enabled me to like really like not be afraid to find new players, not be afraid to like get guys on, try them out, and you never know who you're gonna fall on. Like Nick DeMalo was an awesome player, super fast, super good guy. That's another thing too about this team, man. Like no complaints, zero complaints, zero drama. Like there's no like, oh, I want to play, or can you switch me in? Why is he in, not me? And I had none of that this year. And honestly, that's very underrated. Having teams, I know when you go in the pro divisions, that can get, there's more egos involved. So you get more like hot personalities. And sometimes it's tougher to like deal with that. So, but that's one thing that I have with this team. Everyone is just awesome. Like it was pre-established too. Like before the team was formed, we kind of like said, this is what we want, what we have in mind. We kind of had guys just play defense, some guys just play offense, and some guys switch in, and everyone was on board. And that really showed too. Zero issues with that. And that's another thing that made the weekend even more enjoyable was just everyone's on the same page and everyone had the same goal, and we just clicked. Everyone clicked, and it was really, really good to see.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Yeah. It's gonna ask you one or two more questions before you get you out of here. Obviously you had a chance, I assume, to watch the Braves, right? The Braves and the Party Crashers go at it. Party Crashers winning the championship by a score of 33-29.
Yeah.
What were your impressions of just all the championship games in general? Obviously you had a chance, right, to play for championship as well, right? What was your take from the championship games, the finals on Sunday?
I mean, look, it was fun to see. Like, kudos to Party Crashers. They really they had started that game a little slow. I think they went down early. They threw a pick on the ensuing drive, and you kind of felt like, here we go again. Like last finals, they got dominated in the 5v5 game. Like they got wiped out, and this game started, and you kind of thought, well, here we go again. Party Crashers are going to go down to Braves. We've seen this story. But they actually flipped it. Jens Lee made like a really, really, really insane pick where like Joe Mara was actually trying to throw the ball away. And Jens Lee kind of like dove under it and made like in my opinion, the game-changing pick. It was a game-changing pick that made them that gave them definitely the energy. That's the one thing about Party Crashers. If you give them that energy, you give them that juice, they're gonna take that and they're gonna squeeze every ounce of that. And they made it happen. And kudos to them. It was really fun to see. Like obviously, I have a lot of friends on the Braves. I really like those guys too. So it sucks to see them lose, but seeing a new team win was actually really refreshing too. Even though it's like not FPF, but still, you can't help but have the FPF storyline. Braves losing, because given that they've been winning like 13 championships in a row, that kind of carried over in the Nationals a bit. People got that feeling, and seeing Party Crashers win was good. And for the Knicks against Outbreak, that was a fun game too. It was obviously more lower scoring, but you can tell the strides that Athena Ryan is taking as quarterback. She's really, really, really improving. And I think the coaching of Jacques Void and Patrick Jerome, they put the pieces in play to, like, you can see they're keeping a simple system and the girls are responding and they're playing really, really good. They also have great players on that team too. Lara Uzoka is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated girls in all of FPF. She's incredible. And I really think that you're not done hearing that name, and just seeing them play. And Knicks lost, but I think we're gonna see more of the Knicks coming up. So, and I just think it's just exciting to see how fast this game is growing, and like it's still very, very, very new, the 5v5 stuff in Quebec, and that we haven't seen anything yet. There's so much more to come. I feel in 5v5 and. Being able to see it this weekend at Nationals, I think it was really awesome.
I just want to say that. So I think me and you were on the same page, because before you came on, as talking about Lara, again, I said I think she's one of, if not the best female player in all of FPF right now, at least from a non-quarterback perspective. I think she's phenomenal. And like you talked about, right, Knicks does have a lot of good players. Her, Ashley Langin, on IT, Delphine Burrell, right, as well. And looking at it here, Lala out, Rashid, right? At least just offensively, right? And they have some Chloe Samart surprised she didn't get any passes, but again, like they have a really good team. Again, they lost unfortunately 14-12 to Outbreak in that championship game, but again, no shame in that. And like you talked about, right? Jacques Void, obviously, Pat Jerome, those guys. They're the best of the best when it comes to coaching, right? At least with the females, and they know what they're talking about. So if you're on their team, chances are you're gonna go pretty far in whatever tournament or even FPF season, right? Whatever you're in, chances are you're gonna go pretty far, right? With those guys leading the way, and how they coach those ladies, and how those ladies perform once they're on the field.
Yeah, Pat is awesome. I spoke to Pat too a couple of times on the FPF sidelines. I coach as well, and he gave me tips right away. He wasn't afraid to tell me things and like to try things out, and that's appreciated too. That they're able to talk with other people who love the game as much as you do, and just give you inside tips and what to do, how to do it, and just that's also really cool to see.
Okay, nice. So just going to switch away quickly before we let you go to the NFL. I had Mo on before you, so we talked about his Raiders. Obviously, like I said, you're a Tennessee Titans fan. Year one of Cam Ward in the books. Year two, you hired my main man, Robert Saleh, as your head coach. You made a lot of additions. How excited are you about this year's Tennessee Titans squad?
I mean, I'm always excited in the beginning of the season with the Titans. I haven't really followed anything yet with their offseason moves, the draft. I believe they got a receiver, if I'm not mistaken.
Carnell Tate.
Yeah. But yeah, like obviously I'm a big Cam Ward fan. I think Cam Ward, he's still obviously developing, and I still think there's a lot to see from him. But from the little that I did see of the sparks that he had with the Titans, I think that's going to carry over into year two. But yeah, definitely excited to see how they're gonna make that jump up. I definitely think they're gonna be more on the rise. I definitely think they're gonna have a better record this year. It's gonna be tough in that division because I still think the Jaguars are a pretty tough team. Yeah. But obviously, being a Titans fan right now, it's can't help but think about CJ2K and what they announced with that's what came to mind actually when you mentioned Tennessee. To be honest, with his diagnosis with ALS, it's tough to read that, but I think the Titans, what they're doing, they're a classy organization, and I think they're going to surprise. I think they're going to surprise some teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you had a pretty good offseason. Like I said, you got a good coach. You got Carnell Tate in the draft. You guys, you added a lot of pieces. Just kind of fill, some of the holes you had on your roster. I mean, it's going to be better than last year, I think, right? I don't know about making the playoffs, and I noticed you slept on Quasi's Houston Texans. You mentioned Jacksonville. Nothing about the Texans. Is it that you hate the Texans that much, or
No, no, because Q's not there. If Q was there, maybe I would have
fair enough, fair enough.
mentioned a bit. I really like CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is a really, really, really good quarterback too. I think people sleep on him. I think people kind of dismiss him too easily because he had a poor playoff performance recently. But
Right,
like
right, right.
that happens. That happens. I think you can't base that off one game. I think Houston they definitely not to sleep on too. And yeah, but no, I don't like anyone in that division. Just to answer your question, from Titans,
Fair enough.
from Colts to Jags to Texans. No,
That's what I was hoping to hear. That's what I was hoping to hear. Okay, so before I get you out of here, so every time we see each other, we have this game that you and I play. We have an NFL
okay,
tribute game. Let's
all right,
go.
go
I
for
got
it,
one
go
for
for it,
you.
go for it.
All
Okay,
right. So I'm an NFL running back. This should be easy, actually. I play for the Minnesota Vikings.
you played?
Um, I play not anymore. He doesn't play anymore.
Okay,
I played for the Vikings, and I had four 1,000-yard seasons, and I pretty much I was a really solid running back. And yeah, I played for the Vikings after Adrian Peterson. Who am I?
after Adrian Peterson,
Yep.
my memory is blanking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can't be Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones came there later.
Okay, still there now.
He's still there now. Yeah, I'm trying to think who came after Adrian Peterson. That was like 2000, like what, 13, 14?
Yeah, a little later than that, but yeah, give or take. He's
Yeah,
like the
I'm
first,
having a blank.
he was like
Sorry.
the first his first major running back after Adrian Peterson. Okay, I'll give you a hint, and just to give it away. My brother plays in the NFL right now. I don't anymore, but my brother plays in the NFL.
No, man, I'm having a big blank right now. You're getting me right now. Hold on, let me think. Because I'm having like a random name in my head, but I know it's not him. I know it's not him. Like I'm thinking about all these random guys. Like I'm thinking about Toby Gerhart, but I know it's not Toby Gerhart. Um, um,
I forgot about that guy, but yeah, that's not him though. But yeah.
and he was more of a runner, receiver, or like
No, he's a running back, running back. I mean, he might have caught a couple passes here and there. I can tell you right now, actually, did he catch a
who
lot
was
of
the who
passes?
who was the quarterback with him? Who was the quarterback with him?
Uh, that's a
If
good
you
question.
remember.
I think it's before Kirk Cousins. I think it was like Case Keenum. I think I think it was Case Keenum. I could be wrong. In terms of catching, I mean, he caught some passes of the backfield, not a ton, but he caught. Actually, you know what? He caught a decent amount of balls of the backfield too.
No, you're gonna tell me, and I'm gonna go and I'm right away. But who is it? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's it. His brother plays for the Buffalo Bills. That should give it away.
Oh, Cook. Dalvin Cook.
Calvin
Dalvin
Cook.
Cook.
There you
Okay,
go. There you
yeah. Oh
go.
my God,
There
I
you
should have
go.
knew it was Dalvin Cook. Yeah, he was monster. I know because that guy
Mhm.
killed me in fantasy. That guy killed me in fantasy football all the time. I should have known
I
that
feel
guy.
you. I feel
Yeah,
you. I feel you.
Dalvin Cook. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, you got me there. You got me there. You got me there. You got me there.
Brent Wine for nothing on that one. All right, all right. So next time we see you, because God knows I'm going to see you probably next week. You have one lined up.
All right, I got
I'll,
you.
I'll,
I
I'll
got you.
I'll be up to start on Tuesday, and then Concordia con you next Saturday. So I'm pretty sure I'll see you.
Okay, I'll see you. I'll be ready. I'll be ready to get you one.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it too.
All right, man.
All right. Okay.
All right. All right, so that was Chris Rive. Shout out to Chris for coming on the pod again. Part of our media team here with FPF. Again, like I said, we always have these guess who it is questions, just trivia questions for the NFL between players. And yeah, I think I'm up on him by a lot right now. He's stumped me a couple of times, but it's usually me stumping him. But it's always a fun thing. We always bust each other's chops when we see each other. Pardon me. All right, so before we have Chris on, I just want to get to women's three real quick here, right? So the question I have for women's three right now is, can anyone stop what is most likely going to be the finals matchup between Obsidian and Run Like a Girl? Now I look at it, right? Both teams have combined to go 11-2 so far this year. The only losses they've suffered are against each other. So Run Like a Girl beat Obsidian 25-0. So yeah, that's kind of a spanking earlier this year. And then they had a rematch this past Tuesday in Brassard. So Obsidian getting the win 24-12. Again, like I said, this past Tuesday in Brassard. Obsidian has 3 games left. They play A-Town Black, the Valkyries, and the Rock. Run Like a Girl, they have 4 games left. So they have A-Town White twice, the Rock, and Lioness. So we'll have to see what ends up happening at the end of the year. Who's going to end up being in first place in the women's C division? But again, like I said, right now at the top of the mountain, or at least heading towards the top of the mountain, aka the finals, it might be a matchup between Obsidian and Run Like a Girl. So to the other teams in this division for women's C, and of course, when I say that, I'm talking about Valkyries. I'm talking about A-Town White, A-Town Black, Lioness, The Rock. Do something about it. All y'all have to do something about it, because right now it definitely looks like it's going to be one team, toward those 2 teams in the finals. Sorry, I'm just trying to see. Okay, sorry. One thing also I want to touch on in this division, right? 2 teams right now, I just mentioned their names, going in opposite directions. So the number 3 seed, in third place, the Valkyries, they've lost 3 straight. So they've lost to Obsidian, A-Town White, and The Rock. And then there's Lioness, who in 4th right now. They've won 3 in a row. So they beat A-Town Black twice, and they beat The Rock. So obviously 2 teams headed in opposite directions right now. So for Lioness, they play A-Town White twice coming up, and then they have Run Like a Girl. So that's going to be interesting to see what Lioness can do. Again, we talked about this team the last couple of weeks here on the podcast. They have been playing some really good ball. Like I said, they started off a little shaky to start the season, right? But they've won. They're 0-4. They started now they're 3-4, right? So they've been doing some good things. Pardon me. Whereas the Valkyries, like I said, right, they've lost 3 in a row. Up next for them is next Thursday, so a week from tonight. They're playing A-Town White, so that's going to be next Thursday in Laval. So let's see if the Valkyries could kind of turn their fortunes around, and for Lioness, let's see if they can maintain what they're doing so far. Again, with their best ball of the season. And again, for the Rock, don't want to leave anybody left out here. The Rock, again, 1-5 right now. It's the Rock. I will say though, again, they're coming off a victory is what I'm trying to say here. Sorry. Again, they beat the Valkyries 20-12. So shout out to the girls from the Rock. And now they're gonna try and make it 2 in a row, right? They're back in action again next Thursday against A-Town Black. That'll also be in Laval, right? So let's see if the Rock can maintain their winning ways and make it 2 in a row. So again, congrats to them on getting that first W of the season. Let's switch over to Division D1 for a second. So I was looking around, I was like, okay. Looking at the standings, looking at some of the teams, a lot of them I know, some of them I don't, but I know the majority of the teams in this division, right? So I'm like, okay, who's the best team right now in Division D1? I'm like, well, you look at the standings, right? Snowden Deli DJs, they're in first place. They are a perfect 5-0 on the season. At second place, Pacemakers at 4-2-1, and then you have the other undefeated team is Junior XL Special Ed. They are 3-0. So for them, obviously 3-0, a bit smaller sample size compared to the 7 games played by Pacemakers and to the 5 games played by the Snowden Deli Degens. But then I looked a little closer. I'm like, all right, for Junior XL Special Ed, only 3 games played, but all 3 of them were blowout victories. So that definitely matters, right? That counts for something. So looking at it right here, right? So far, they've gone toe-to-toe with the Pacemakers, second place team. They beat them 36-18. That was in week 1. Then week 5. So they had a game on May 25th, and then they had a month off. So their last game, second to last game, was June 21st. They blew out Garni Kamak 38-12. And their last game was one night later on Monday, June 22nd. They laid a beat down, did the Junior XL Special Ed on the Black Vipers 45-12. to 25. So 3 games only, but all three ended in blowouts, right? So like, okay, cool. That's something you want to keep track of, right? Snowden Delhi Degens, perfect 5-0, like I said, but no blowouts. All five of those games were pretty close. I mean, well, four of those games were close. Four of those games came down to a touchdown or less, right? So let's look at what they did so far, right? In that trek so far to being 5-0, right? So they started off the season, they got a 26-12 win over no punt intended. Then 1 week later, they had another tight win right over the bend don't break 38-32. So that's a 6 point gain. Then they had a 1 point victory over the Pacemakers, who I just talked about right now. They're in second place. They beat the Pacemakers 41-40. Then they had a 26-14 win over No Flag Zone. So they won that. And then they beat Ball Hawks by 6. They beat them 20-14, right? So again, Snowden Delhi Degens, they're a perfect 5-0. But are they the best team in Division D1? Record points wise, he's gonna say yeah, but again, who you beat and how you beat them says a little bit more. But you know what? We don't have to worry about that. Why? You might be asking, because this coming Sunday, July 5th, in Laval, 8 p.m., we'll have Junior XL Special Ed taking on the Snowden Delhi Degens. So we can't ask for anything better than that, right? That is going to be the game of all games, at least so far at this point of the season in this division. The winner of that one will definitely be the best team in Division D1. I'm super excited for that game. I'm actually playing on Sunday at, I want to say, 5 o'clock. So if it is 5, I will definitely stay to watch that game. Even if I play at 4, I think I'm going to stay to watch that game, because that's a really, really big game. I'm super excited to see it. I know it's the last day of the Jazz Fest. I'm going to try and watch that game real quick and make it back downtown to finish off the Jazz Fest. Because I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to go to the Jazz Fest. I went last Saturday to watch a Kellis concert. It was super dope. I walked around, saw some of the free shows and that too, and it was a good time. I did that actually after watching Portugal against Colombia. I will say, so I'm not the biggest soccer fan. I am actually going to go later tonight to watch Portugal and Croatia. My girlfriend's Portuguese, so I kind of have to watch the Portuguese team Portugal. I'm Team England, actually. I should have talked about that with Mo. He's a Team England fan as well. Go for England, go for Ghana. Had my heart broken yesterday when Senegal lost to Belgium. I mean, you're up in that game. They should have been able to win, but it is what it is. Shout out to Congo and the Ivory Coast as well. But yeah. Anyways, if you have a chance when you're not playing FPF or scorekeeping or whatever, watching World Cup, man, it's awesome. Again, it's once every 4 years. Jazz Fest too. Try to head up there. Enjoy the weather. I know it's kind of a heat wave going on right now, but listen, like I said to Chris before, when November, December, January, February, March, most of April, yes, I'm gonna say that too, most of April rolls around, it's gonna be freezing. The winter tires that Mo was talking about before, my winter tires will be on my car from October all the way to April. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. So it's hot outside, I hear you. 100%. Just get outside, man, enjoy the weather. But anyways, so like I said, Division D1, the best team will be revealed, I think, this Sunday in Lavelle, Snowden Delhi Degens against Junior XL Special Ed. I will say also, you know what, sticking with this division, Pacemakers. So shout out to Jason Rossi, a buddy of mine. Yeah, these guys are frauds. I'm sorry. They're in second place, and I respect that they're in second place, because when playoffs come, having that second seed is going to be really huge, right? But I mean, again, they lost to both Junior XL, Special Ed, and Snowden Delhi Degens. So we know for sure that they shouldn't be in second place. They should really be in third. If Junior XL, Special Ed had more games played, Pacemakers wouldn't be in second. They'd be dropping down to at least third. And also, the Pacemakers barely beat 1-4 Garney Comac in week 3. They beat them. I think it was a one-score game. Let me just double check. Thought I had written that score down, but let me go back and look here. Again, it wasn't like they blew them out the water. And the fact that I wrote on my notes that they barely won means, yeah, they won. They beat them by a score 53-52. Thank you, Ali Reza. 53-52. They beat the Black Vipers, who are a better team. They beat them 42-41. So that does count. But I mean, they barely beat a 1-4 team who they allowed to score, who they gave up 52 points to, right? So I mean, Pacemakers 4-2 is still decent, but I don't think you guys are as good as that 4-2 record says. Again, feel free to prove me wrong. I'm just saying it is what it is. You lose to the two best teams in your division, and then you barely beat one of the worst teams. You can't ignore that. I'm gonna hop over to Division C here. So Beer Belly Brigade, 7-0, right? Can they maintain their perfect record? They finished with Cast at 12, Bomb, and my team, the Commission. I'm looking at the Packers though. So the Packers caught my attention. They've won 2 in a row, the Packers, and 5 out of 6 overall. That's impressive. I was supposed to play the Packers in week 1. They forfeited the game. Didn't have enough guys, so they forfeited. That worked out well for us and not so much for them. But again, they've rebounded from that forfeit loss. Again, they've won 2 in a row and 5 out of 6. So teams need to be careful of the Packers. Teams need to be aware of the Packers, I should say. They're definitely doing their thing. Speaking of doing their thing, actually, the Packers, they knocked off Jagerbomb. And yeah, Jagerbomb, I think Jagerbomb is definitely, if not the top team in this division, one of the top 3, right? It is what it is. You look at their record, they're solid. But Jagerbomb got blown out 39-19 last Monday at Stade de Soccer. So a big shout out to the Packers for getting that W. And I'm not going to lie, it does help out my team as well. But I'm very surprised, that the Jagerbomb, again, a veteran squad, Jean-Felix Dallouz on this team, right? It's been a squad that's been together for a long time. They've won together, they've been together in multiple, usually the Division C is what they play. Simon Deschamps, Kevin Marcel, right? A bunch of good dudes and they're players. Like I played against these guys a lot of times, and as I said on this pod, they've knocked me out the playoffs more than a few times. Laurent Foucault, right? And they added Ryan Carouf. So that's a really big addition. A really athletic guy with speed, some size too. Can play kind of that deep safety position. But yeah, they have players: Jeremy Lavoie, Patry, Jonathan Cloutier, Felix Fontaine LaRouche. The list goes on, right? They've been together for a long time and they know how to win, and that's what they've been doing. But again, they fell this past week. So now they're 5-1, right? So that's huge because what that does for the rest of the division right now, right? So you look at it, you go to the Division C standings. Beer Belly Brigade, like I said, they're at the top. They're 7-0. Packers, because they played the most games along with the Hustlers and Beer Belly Brigade, they've all played 7 games, right? Packers are in second place with a 5-2 record, followed by Jagerbomb, who's 5-1, and my team, the Commission, who's 4-1 in fourth. And rounding up the top 5, you have the Hustlers, who are 4-3, right? Speaking of my team, the Commission, I mean, we rebounded off of a horrible loss to the Uncle Rico Riders. We beat Les Innocents 35-25, but that was all the way back on June 14th, right? So we've had off almost a whole month. We're finally back in action against the Big Fat Bats this coming Sunday. Yeah, so Sunday at 6 in Laval, and then after that we have nothing to run. So 2 teams that are 0-4, I believe, in the win column, and Big Fat Bats and nothing run. But I would tell you, and I know my guys listen to the show, let's not fall for those trap games. Big Fat Bats 0-5, nothing run 0-6. They have veteran players who have been here before. They aren't as bad as the record is. So will the Commission fall for those trap games? We'll have to wait and see. Because I mean, after we play those 2 teams, our schedule gets really tough again because we finish with Jagerbomb, the Hustlers, and Beer Belly Brigade, right? So we need to make sure we get those 2 wins. But again, we can't be sleeping on opponents, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, so that's it for Division C. I'm going to hop over to Co-Ed 4 right now. So I was looking at it, right? Vodka Red Bulls. They started off 1-3, and now they're 3-4, right? So obviously they're just showing some improvement. They lost to Catch My Balls and Too Fast Mon Ami twice by a combined score of 108-31. The kind of first couple of weeks of the season, right? The only win was a 46-12 win over Les Moons back in week 2. So again, like I said, they went 1-3 to start off the season. In those losses, right, those 3 losses, they didn't score more than 2 touchdowns in any of those games. So to say they struggled is an understatement, right? But since then, they've won 2 out of the last 3, and they've outscored opponents 104-89 in those wins. So shout out to Vodka Red Bull for getting their act together, right? And just reeling off some wins. So congrats to those guys and ladies on getting it done here for Co-Ed 4. They're trying to see, so their next opponent, again, talking about Vodka Red Bull, it's a solid combination. I won't lie, I've had my fair share of those. When I was younger, I was more of a vodka person. When I was younger. I find as I get older, a lot of my friends say the same thing too. With the vodka, not so much, but it is what it is. You drink what you like to drink. Screwdriver would never say no to one of those, but anyways, whatever. Vodka Red Bull, so they're up next. So they have a bye, right? So they're off until July 18th. They're taking on Flamingos, and they finish off with Vicious and Delicious. And then they have Sax Appeal, right? So let's see if Vodka Red Bull could keep up their winning ways. Hopefully they can. Looking at the rest of this division, so Les Moon, right? They're the only team right now I believe, in this division who do not have a win. Yeah, they're 0-5 right now. So obviously they've fallen on some tough times this year. They've scored 78 points total in those 5 games, right? So obviously offense is one of the big reasons why they're struggling. It's going to do the quick math here, right? You get 78 points over 5 games. Yeah, they're averaging less than 16 points, 15.6 games 15.6 points per game to be exact, right? So not the offense they were hoping for. Although I will say they did lose to Vodka Red Bull, like we talked about. They scored a season high 36 points in that loss. They lost 52-36. So let's hope for Le Moon, who their next game is next Saturday, July 11th, against Vicious and Delicious. Hopefully they can take some of that offense that they showed against Vodka Red Bull and bring it forward the rest of the way. Because like I said, they have Vicious and Delicious on the 11th of July. They have Sax Appeal, Too Fast Mon Ami, and then Catch My Balls to finish off the regular season all the way down in week 12. So Le Moon, I'm cheering for you. Hopefully you guys can put some wins together and put some offense together that'll help you stack some wins, is what I should say. Um, Looking at the upcoming schedule right now, right? So in FPF, obviously, we have the calendar right here. So like I said earlier, right? Today's Thursday, right? We're filming this on a Thursday. So there's a couple of big games just standing out. No Regard and Silent Ticklers in Division B, one of the divisions I write for. Run Like a Girl, we talked about earlier, right? They're facing A-Town White. Lego My Flag and Tea Party. That should be a really good game. Co-ed 1 that's taking place tonight. In Laval, you have KGP Dynasty going against Camping Saint-Bouteille. Camping Saint-Bouteille right now has to be, I think, the most disappointing team in Division B. Let's see if they can rebound and get a win over a high-powered offense led by Phil Cutler and his crew there for KGP Dynasty. You got No Flag Zone Nighthawks, the Merge, the co-ed one merge, I guess the original merger, if you will, taking on the mismatch. So that should be a really good game. Yeah, West Loop taking on Perfect Timing in Division F. Yeah, Bastion taking on Shintos and Benitos in Division E1, right? So that's the action for Thursday. Let's go to tomorrow, Friday, right? So it's weird. It was only 4 games period in FPF on Friday. So the two winless teams, right? Big Fat Bats and Nut and Run, they're going head to head tomorrow night in Laval, so that should be a good one. We have Midtown against Head Tops Only. We have Block Party against Certified, so that should be a really fun game. And Devious Dogs against Firkly FJ. So that's going to be so Division C, Nothing Running Big Bats, Midtown, and Head Tops Only, Division E1, Co-ed 2, Block Party Certified, and Devious Dogs against Firkly FJ. That's Division F. That's going to be on Friday. Again, like I said, Saturday, there are no games at all in FPF. So don't go to Concordia. Don't go anywhere else. There's games on Saturdays. There's nothing. Sunday, there's a couple of games on the ledger right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in total on Sunday. We have some women's one action. We got Chaos against Blue Power. So that should be a good game. Again, 2 veteran teams. Again, like I said, Blue Power was in that tournament there this past weekend at Clorobiar for Nationals. My team, the Commission Division C, taking on Big Fat Bats. Birds and Purple Heat in Women's A. That should be a really, really good contest between 2 good teams right there, going head to head, like I said. We're going to have Party Crashers and the Raw Dogs. Again, they also took part in Nationals. Again, Party Crashers winning it all. So again, congrats to those boys, Jean-Lee Alexi, Jordan and Alexi, Fritz, Senatus, Emerson Peterkin, and all the guys, Mendo Joseph, all those guys. Congrats to them. We have Steels and Bandits in Division D2. Junior XL, like I said, Junior XL Special Ed against Snowden Deli Degens Sunday in Laval. Again, that'll be at 8 o'clock. So like I said, I'll be there to watch that game. Let's get some some competitive, some 5v5, right? The Braves who lost to the Party Crashers, they're getting back to 5-on-5 action as they take on the Infantry. Again, that'll be this Sunday in Laval. For co-ed, we have Division B, FPF's Most Wanted. I'm going to get to them in a second. Taking on Idaho U the Pimps. I expect that game to be a shootout. I scored FPF's Most Wanted game this past Monday against Speed Academy, and I got to say that was just fireworks and predominantly all shown by FPF's Most Wanted. So again, they're taking on Idaho U the Pimps. And Division A, the Braves are at it. Well, pretty much just a little bit later in the night at 10 p.m. Vultures against Braves in Division A. And to wrap things up, for Sunday's action, we have Tuski taking on Maple Syrups that I talked about a little earlier. Let me just get to that. So some of the games that score kept, right? I talked about FPS Most Wanted. I didn't scorekeep their game against Speed Academy, but the game was going on right next to the field I was on. I was on field one scorekeeping. That game was on field two, so I saw a lot of the action. Yeah, every time I turned around, it seemed to be a big play for FPS Most Wanted. Shout out to Tabera, Alessandro Berrazzoni, 7 of 20, 172 yards, 5 touchdowns. He was just cooking. Whedon's Alexander, so I wrote in an article last week. I think he's going to win Receiver of the Year in Division B, and he showed why. I mean, 4 catches, 58 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. Not the tallest guy, but his breakaway speed, his ability to create separation between him and the defender. You don't see too many players able to do that, and he has amazing hands. Again, U of M Caribbean receiver. He showed us stuff on Monday night. The defense came to play as well. And I came away impressed. I came away impressed. Shout out to Rafi Morelli there. He had 2 sacks in the game, brought down Emil Plant. And Speed Academy, I mean, they had a full roster, right? They had a lot of their top guys were there. Like JC Furlong, obviously. Then Maxime Brissett was there, Nick Pierre Mas, Charles Verreau. They couldn't get it was like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. First half, it was a 14-13 game in favor of FPS Most Wanted. And then after that, they got outscored 22-7 in the second half. It just didn't go well for them, unfortunately. I know they were trying to get the W, but they just couldn't get it done. Just trying to find there's another game I score kept here. I just wanna make sure I get the names correctly here. Um no, sorry, sorry, here it was. It was Le Moimu against Flismana Flag. So yeah, I did that game. It's one of the I think it's the final game or second to last game I did on Monday at Mary Vic. So yeah, Lismana Flag won handily. They won 45-6. I mean, the game was a blowout. I will say though, I hadn't really seen these two teams play. Um, I like the females on at least one of the fly. Like they were balling as were the guys and the quarterback Maxime Baudouin for 19 of 21 for 7 touchdown passes. He had nearly 200 yards. Like he was just throwing dimes. Benjamin Lavallee had 4 touchdowns, 7 catches, 83 yards. He came away. He was nice. He was on point. But the females on the team, they were balling. Like they were playing tough both sides of the ball. They were making plays too, which was always nice to see. Right, they were involved in the game. So I'm talking about Elizabeth De Michel. 3 catches, 44 yards, a touchdown. Elodie DeRoche, DeRoche, pardon me, had 5 catches, 43 yards. She had a tutty as well. Yeah, they were just all over the place. They were making plays. So DeRoche she had a pick as well in that game. They had a rush. So they were kind of rotating rushes. At one point, it was Matthias Lavallee. He had 2 sacks in the game. He was balling out. Jenny Bernier and Charles Grenier, like they got contributions from everybody on their team, and that's what I like to see. Like I like seeing co-ed teams where both the guys and the girls play equally or involved, and you're on the team, right? You want to be involved in the way you don't want to be a passenger, right? So next, congrats to at least one on the flag. For Les Moines, I mean, the quarterback for the Cote, he had a decent arm. It's just like his problem was that he was dropped back, but he would drop back 15, 20 yards sometimes and throw off his back foot. And that's it's not going to work, right? Unfortunately. So yeah, that's what happened there. But again, he had some players that kind of came out and ball for his team. Just they were behind and they kept on making mistakes. Emily Formone, I hadn't seen her before. She has a really good size. She's fast. She's athletic. She made some plays. Lara Dubois as well, right? So I came away thinking, okay, like there's some talent on this team. Maybe it's just a bad game for them, but needless to say, again, they lost 45-6. And what that loss, that's for Les Moines again. Now they're 0-7. So that's a tough loss for them. And for Leeds Moine Flag, that win brings them one game above 500 now with a 5-2 record. Another game I score kept as well was Practice Squad. I'm just trying to find them here. Yeah, Practice Squad 3. So I'm looking at Division E1 here. So let me get to that now here on my computer. So Division E1. So it's Practice Squad 3. I'm not sure what happened to teams 1 or 2, or maybe in previous seasons they went by teams 1 or 2. I have seen this team play before. So they took on Head Tops Only. So it's kind of a back and forth game between these two teams. Again, this is Division E1. Practice Squad 3 won by a score of 26-15. Now I've seen their quarterback, Fabrice Tremblay. He's a big guy. But he has an arm, man. He was throwing some dimes in there. He went 15-24, not bad at all, 144 yards, 4 TDs. But he ran only for 24 yards, but his runs were pretty much all for first downs, which was really huge. Vincent Demir on the team really stepped up, had a good game. There was Samuel, I've seen him play before, Jean Christophe, Peladro really played well. Pretty much one of the, again, same thing as I talked about before, right? With at least one flag. A thing where it was a situation, pardon me, where practice squad three, like all their players made plays. Everyone was around the ball. Jesse Green made plays. Martin Mayer, Charles Perro, all those guys made plays. Switching to head tops only, so they had some players on their team too. So there's Vasily Smeros. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. Him, this William Cipolla. Those guys made some plays. It was funny before the game, right? So I went over to get the roster from these guys, and so they go to number 3, Alessandro Stordo. Hey, so do you want to play quarterback? Yeah, I guess. And that's how it went. And he came in there. He was athletic, man. He made some plays. Like he ran a lot. He should have ran a bit more. His only thing was he would throw the ball, and this is the case with a lot of new quarterbacks, right? He would drop back. He throw like these rainbow balls, like Russell Wilson, deep. But the ball would hang in the air so long that even if the receiver was open, the defensive back had a chance to run under the ball and make a play. If he's able to put less arc on those passes, he would have had a couple more touchdowns. But again, it was an entertaining game. Again, Division E1, but entertaining 26-15 was the W for practice squad over head tops only. I know I talked earlier about the originals taking on Hebrew. Again, like I said, the ladies for Hebrew, I just was super impressed. I can't lie. They came out, they played aggressive. They didn't have the size that their opponents have, but they came out and they did their thing. And so congrats to those ladies on getting the W. I believe that's it for games that I scored. Okay, for some reason, I feel like I'm leaving out a game. And no, I'm not actually. No, I'm not leaving out a game. So awesome. I want to get to this quickly before I forget and before we sign off here. This is the FPF, the players of the week, right? So I'm gonna find that here. I just had it up on my screen before. Here we go. Okay, so week 5, right? Last week was week 4, so now we're doing week 5 for the players of the week or for the strong performances. Okay, so let's start off right here. So we have from FPF Hall of Famer from Maple Syrup, go at 5v5, Serge Pilon Jr., 10 catches, 102 yards. He had 3 TDs, he had 9 tackles, so good job for the vet. Lara Zuko. So Chris and I talked about Lara before. So Lara Zuka, 13 receptions, 162 yards, 3 TDs, and 6 tackles for Knicks and Women's A. We had shout out to the main man Dante Girardi. He had 300 yards passing and 9 TDs last couple of games. So saying this is for Division D1. Emerson Peterkin, we talked about earlier, right? Co-ed 5v5, like I talked about, right? He had his last game, 15 completions, 220 yards, 8 TDs. Again, like I said, now Jeff is back playing quarterback, but Peterkin obviously showing dual threat athlete. He could play receiver, he could play quarterback. Wherever he lines up, he's going to make plays, right? Jalen Greaves, who obviously helped the Party Crashers beat the Braves for the gold there at Nationals. This past week with Airbuzz, he had 4 TDs, 97 receiving yards to go along with 2 INTs as a defender. Shout out to my main man, Jean-Sebastien St. Arnaud. He had 2 TDs on offense. He had 3 sacks on defense and co-ed 2 for Kamikaze. JS, hopefully you can get some sacks for us this coming Sunday, my man. Have no doubt. Co-ed 2 of Bempercons, it's Thomas Cote. He had 3 TDs on offense, and on defense, he had 8 tackles, 2 INTs, 2 touchdowns, and a pass deflection. So shout out to Thomas Cote at Bempercons. Elodie Simino of Wolfpack, I think we mentioned her last week. Offensively, 112 receiving yards, 3 TDs. On defense, 6 tackles and 2 INTs, so she was balling. JS, so Jean-Samuel Cornier, Division C with the Hustlers. He had 2 TDs on offense, 3 sacks on defense, obviously a dual threat both sides of the ball. My main man, Julian McLaren Thompson in Division E1 with armed robbery. He had 2 sacks, an INT, 2 pass deflections, and a pick 6. So I don't know if you've ever seen Julian play. He used to be on my teams. He's been in the league for a million years. One of the nicest guys you're ever going to see in FPF, and one of the fastest guys still in FPF, able to get a couple of INTs and get some sacks as well. Carl Aki, former Laval Rouge et Or defender, on offense for his team, fins up in Division A. He had 128 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. And he said, you know what? I want to play some defense as well. So he had an INT. So good job for him. We've got a couple of players as well here. Vaca Red Bull, who I talked about earlier in Co-Ed 4. Riley Vaughn, quarterback, 14 completions, 221 yards, 7 TDs, and only on offense. So good job by him. He had, as a defender, he had 1 INT and 1 touchdown. And last but not least, in Division E2 for Molson Import, I talked about them in an article I wrote this past week for them. Mark Phillips. Defensively, he had 3 touchdowns on offense, and on defense, he had 1 INT, 1 pass deflection, and that 1 INT, he ran that bad boy back to the house for the pick 6. So good job for everybody mentioned. And don't forget, if you shine, if you do your thing, you end up on the the player of the week, I guess, for lack of better words, to describe this list here. So it'll be on the FlagPlus Football Facebook page. So make sure to go check that out. And I believe there's going to be a post on IG as well. So I think that wraps it up for this week. Ali Rest, is there anything else we need to get to, or? All right. So I think timeline. What are we at time-wise? Like an hour 20 or 30? Hour 35 right now, but 5 minutes over. Better than usual. So just want to say thanks to Ali Reza, obviously, for everything that you do, helping out with this podcast. Shout out to Quasi. I know he should be back next week. A big thank you, of course, to Chris Rivest, and I guess Mo Khan as well. Thank you those guys for coming on and just again talking about what it's like to be a referee, talking about nationals, talking about their hot garbage football teams and the Las Vegas Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. I try to save you guys from Mo talking about his Marlins too much or Chicago Bulls. Yes, again, hot garbage all around. Like I said, get out, enjoy the weather. Saturday is off from FPF, so enjoy the Jazz Fest, grab a beer, go outside, ride a bike, go do something. I'm doing all the above on, well, actually today and Friday and Saturday. So enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend. Happy Canada Day. I know it was yesterday, so to those of you who celebrated, happy Canada Day. And we will see you next week. Have a good one. Peace.